What if I told you that the difference between a rose garden full of small, disappointing blooms and one bursting with show-stopping flowers has nothing to do with the variety you planted? What if I said that experienced gardeners are quietly using 5 simple techniques that transform ordinary roses into extraordinary ones, and most beginners have never heard of them? The average home gardener treats all roses the same way. Plant them, water them, hope for the best. But experienced rose growers know something different. They understand that roses respond dramatically to specific techniques that redirect energy, improve soil, and control exactly where the plant puts its resources. And here's the surprising part. None of these secrets require expensive products or complicated methods. In this video, I'm going to reveal the 5 secrets that experienced gardeners use to grow bigger, more spectacular rose blooms, so you can finally get the show-stopping flowers you've been working toward. These aren't vague tips. They're specific, actionable techniques backed by horticultural research and decades of rose growing experience. At the end, I'll reveal the secret that works underground, invisibly transforming your soil into the foundation for the most spectacular blooms your roses have ever produced. First, let's talk about why most rose gardeners never achieve the bloom size they're capable of. Roses are remarkably responsive plants. When you understand how they allocate energy, you can manipulate that allocation to produce fewer, larger, more spectacular blooms, rather than dozens of small, underwhelming ones. The problem is that most gardeners treat roses passively. They plant, water, and wait. But experienced growers treat roses actively. They make deliberate decisions about pruning, feeding, and soil management that fundamentally change how the plant performs. The gap between average rose blooms and spectacular rose blooms isn't about luck or genetics. It's about technique. These 5 secrets close that gap permanently. Number 5, pruning. Most gardeners prune roses to make them look neat. They remove dead wood, trim back long canes, and call it done. But experienced rose growers prune with a completely different goal: controlling how many buds the plant supports, so more energy goes into each individual flower. Here's the principle that changes everything. Harder pruning produces longer stems with bigger blooms. Lighter pruning produces more blooms that are smaller. If you want show-stopping flowers, you need to be more aggressive with your pruners than feels comfortable. When you remove more stems and canes, you're reducing the number of growth points the plant has to support. The plant's energy, its stored carbohydrates, its nutrient uptake, its photosynthetic output, gets concentrated into fewer buds. Each remaining bud receives more resources and develops into a significantly larger flower. But most gardeners are too cautious with pruning because removing healthy canes feels wrong. The technique that makes the biggest difference is renewal pruning. Each year, remove some of the oldest, most woody canes down to the base of the plant. These old canes produce smaller flowers on shorter stems. When you remove them, the plant pushes up vigorous new growth from the base that carries the best, largest blooms. Additionally, prune to create an open vase shape, cutting back to outward-facing buds at a 45-degree angle about ½ inch above the bud. This improves air circulation and directs growth outward rather than into the center of the plant. Here's what to do. When pruning in spring, be bold. Remove 1/3 to 1/2 of the plant's total cane volume. Cut out all dead, diseased, and crossing branches first. Then remove the oldest, darkest canes at the base. Shape remaining canes into an open vase. You redirect the plant's energy into fewer, stronger growth points that produce dramatically larger blooms. While pruning controls how many blooms the plant produces, but the next secret controls the size of individual flowers even further. Number 4, Disbud and Deadhead. This is the secret that separates serious rose growers from casual ones, and it involves doing something that feels counterintuitive: removing flower buds to get bigger flowers. On cluster flowering roses, each stem produces a central bud surrounded by several smaller side buds. Most gardeners let all of these buds develop, which produces a cluster of flowers. But experienced growers pinch out those small side buds early, leaving only the central bud. The result is dramatic. That single remaining bud receives all the energy that would have been divided among 5 or 6 buds. The flower that develops is noticeably, sometimes dramatically, larger than anything the plant would have produced naturally. This technique is called disbudding, and gardeners who use it consistently report that the remaining blooms are significantly bigger because they no longer compete for energy. The timing matters. Remove side buds when they're small, before they've invested significant plant resources. A quick pinch between your fingers is all it takes. Deadheading is equally important, but serves a different purpose. When a rose bloom fades, the plant's next priority is seed production. It begins directing energy toward developing rose hips. If you don't deadhead spent blooms, the plant shifts resources away from producing new flowers and towards seed development. You get fewer blooms in subsequent flushes. Here's what to do. Deadhead spent blooms by cutting back to the first strong, outward-facing leaf with 5 leaflets. This signals the plant to begin another bloom cycle rather than setting seed. Do this consistently throughout the season after every flush of flowers. You maintain the plant's focus on flowering rather than reproduction, which significantly increases total bloom production and keeps individual flowers large. When you combine aggressive pruning with strategic disbudding and consistent deadheading, you're controlling bloom size at every level. But the next secret addresses the fuel that makes all of this possible. Number 3, feed heavily. Roses are heavy feeders. Producing large, complex flowers requires enormous nutritional resources: nitrogen for vigorous growth, phosphorus for root development and bloom production, potassium for strong buds and disease resistance. If you're not feeding your roses on a consistent schedule, you're leaving bloom size on the table. The mistake most gardeners make is feeding randomly. A handful of fertilizer here, a liquid feed there, whenever they remember. But experienced rose growers feed on a precise schedule tied to the plant's bloom cycles. Start fertilization in early to mid-spring, once new growth is about 6 inches tall. Then feed after each bloom cycle throughout the growing season. This keeps nutrients consistently available when the plant needs them most. Use a balanced granular fertilizer, a 10-10-10 or a rose-specific blend, applying it around the drip line of the bush and watering it in thoroughly. Understanding the NPK ratio matters. Nitrogen drives leafy growth, phosphorus supports root development and bloom production, and potassium builds strong buds and improves disease resistance. Deficiencies in phosphorus or potassium specifically lead to smaller, weaker blooms. Here's the insider technique that experienced growers use: organic boosters. Alfalfa meal or alfalfa pellets provide nutrients plus growth-stimulating compounds called triacontanol that promote stronger, larger blooms. Banana peels add potassium and phosphorus. Simply bury them around the drip line as they decompose. These organic additions complement your regular fertilizer program and provide a noticeable improvement in bloom size and quality. Here's what to do. Establish a feeding schedule and stick to it. Feed in early spring when growth reaches 6 inches. Feed again after the first bloom, flush fades. Continue feeding after each subsequent flush through midsummer, then taper off in late summer to allow the plant to harden, off before winter. Your roses have consistent nutritional support throughout the season, which directly translates to larger, more vibrant blooms. While feeding provides the fuel for big blooms, but the next secret controls how efficiently that fuel gets used. Number 2, control water and sun. Experienced gardeners are precise about water and light rather than treating roses like any other flowering shrub, and this precision makes a measurable difference in bloom size. Sunlight is the foundation. Roses need strong, direct light, a minimum of 6 hours of full sun daily, with more being better. Morning sun is particularly valuable because it dries dew from leaves quickly, reducing fungal disease pressure. When you site roses in adequate sun, they produce more buds and develop sturdier stems that can support larger flowers. But roses planted in insufficient light produce fewer, smaller blooms on weak stems that can't hold them upright. Watering technique matters as much as frequency. The mistake most gardeners make is frequent, shallow watering. This keeps the top few inches of soil moist, but never encourages roots to grow deep. Shallow watering produces shallow root systems that can't support large bloom production. Experienced growers water deeply and infrequently, soaking the root zone thoroughly, then allowing the soil to partially dry before watering again. This deep watering encourages roots to grow down, creating a strong, extensive root system that can support abundant, large blooms. Container roses require special attention because they dry out and lose nutrients faster than roses planted in the ground. Container roses may need more frequent watering and feeding to maintain the consistent moisture and nutrition that large bloom production requires. Here's what to do. Water deeply at the base of the plant, never overhead. Apply enough water to penetrate 12 to 18 inches into the soil. Then wait until the top 2 to 3 inches of soil dry out before watering again. You develop deep, strong root systems that support the plant's ability to produce large, spectacular blooms consistently. When you combine precise feeding with deliberate watering and optimal sun exposure, you're creating ideal conditions for maximum bloom size. But the final secret works at the most fundamental level of all. Number 1, build the right soil. This is the secret that works underground, invisibly, and it's the foundation that makes everything else possible. Because here's the truth. Every rose bloom is a report card on your soil health and plant stress levels. The richer and healthier the underground world, the bigger and more luxurious the flowers above ground. Before planting or as an annual amendment, work compost or other organic matter into your rose beds. Organic matter improves soil structure, drainage, and nutrient holding capacity simultaneously. It creates the ideal environment for strong root systems that can support large bloom production. Roses growing in rich, well-amended soil consistently outperform roses growing in poor soil, even when all other care is identical. Add organic amendments through the season to maintain fertility. Alfalfa meal, composted manure, and specialty rose foods provide slow-release nutrition that keeps soil biology active and nutrient levels consistent. Healthy soil biology, the bacteria, fungi, and microorganisms living in your soil, makes nutrients available to rose roots in forms the plant can actually use. Pest and disease management is equally critical. Aphids, thrips, black spot, and powdery mildew don't just look bad. They reduce the plant's ability to photosynthesize and produce energy. Damaged leaves mean less energy available for bloom production, which directly reduces flower size and quantity. Regular inspection and early intervention keeps the plant healthy and focused on flowering. One technique experienced growers use is Epsom salt, magnesium sulfate, applied lightly around plants to improve nutrient uptake and bloom quality. Magnesium is a component of chlorophyll, so adequate magnesium levels support photosynthesis and overall plant vigor. Use sparingly and alongside a balanced feeding program rather than as a standalone treatment. Here's what to do. Amend your soil with compost every spring before growth begins. Add alfalfa meal or composted manure as a top dressing monthly through the growing season. Inspect plants weekly for pests and disease, treating early before populations build. You create the rich, healthy underground environment that produces the spectacular blooms above ground that every rose gardener is working toward. I'd love to hear from you. Which of these 5 secrets are you going to try first this season? Let me know in the comments. What's been your biggest challenge with getting large blooms from your roses, and what techniques have worked for you? If you found this helpful and want to finally grow the spectacular rose blooms you've been working toward, don't forget to give it a thumbs up and share it with fellow rose enthusiasts who want bigger, more beautiful flowers. Hit that subscribe button so you don't miss any of our upcoming videos. We've got more rose care secrets, pruning guides, and soil improvement tips coming your way soon. Check out the related videos linked right here on the screen to dive deeper into topics like rose fertilization schedules and organic soil building. Thank you so much for watching and being part of our growing community. Until next time, happy gardening!